We spent the last couple days at the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas, and oh my goodness, it was so enlightening, so much energy. There were 35,000 people there. There was representation from governments across the world. We had the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, spoke there. We also had a member from Pakistan come and talk about everything Pakistan is doing, such as starting a strategic Bitcoin reserve. A lot is going on.
Panama.
Yeah, Panama
Panama City there,
Panama
talking
mayor.
about potential to do so. So let's share some insights and things that we learned, or maybe some new perspectives we have on Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and the intersection of real estate. Let's chop it up.
Well, my biggest takeaway is like you started with community. And even though you know that the community is strong, just being around that community with like 35,000 people and just seeing like candidly how done they are with the way things have been and somewhat of the, we guess, corruption around money, and that's gone on for decades and decades, and how this is just a newer, better, more transparent way, and seeing it take root at the level that it has and the speed at which that it's coming is
It's crazy.
You can't, being a part of that, you can't miss it anymore, right? Like it just made it abundantly clear to me.
Yes, it's not internet magic money anymore.
No.
This is a community. This is a very large.
Yeah, it's not nerdy dudes in their basements.
I mean, there are some.
Yeah, there are definitely some nerdy dudes in the basement, but it's a movement, and it's a very large movement, and as Lynn Alden would say, nothing is going to stop this train.
Nothing's going to stop this.
I know she's making light of the debt.
Yes.
Going over a cliff basically, but the movement is also there's nothing stopping it right now.
And what you mean by the debt is the government.
Yes.
And the government deficit and the debt and how it continues to grow, and how that momentum is just going to keep coming. And she uses
And they're stuck
the
in a
analogy,
hard place. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? I mean, you go for it.
Yeah, she uses an analogy from Breaking Bad. And remember when Walter White was in deep in cooking meth and selling drugs, and you know, at that point his cancer was gone and he could have gotten out of it, and he's like, nothing is going to stop this train. And that is exactly what's happening with the federal government and the debt crisis that we find ourselves in.
Yep.
And so as a result of that, we see continual debasement of the US dollar. And so we all know that our dollar doesn't go as far as it used to go. I mean, everybody knows
And
that.
people are starting to wake up to it.
Yeah, my 16-year-old daughter talks about inflation. And so because of that, like, what's the alternative to the traditional Ponzi scheme US monetary policy, which is basically imposed worldwide? One of the things that I found to be super fascinating that I did not know is that the developers that work on the Bitcoin code, basically the amount of money they allocate to these developers, and there's only like a few dozen of them.
I know, I've
right?
found
It's
that wild too.
fascinating. It's about $8 million. Now, we run a technology company, and I can tell you that
It's
$8 million
not enough.
per year for developers
very
is
much.
absolutely insane. It is absolutely insane. I mean, you can easily spend that as a small technology company, and then you think about the fact that that is the amount of money being allocated to the developers that are grinding and keeping the Bitcoin code up and, you know, basically bug-free and running, not even developing new features. So that was one thing I found super fascinating. What are some other insights or
It's
things?
probably because there's no waste, right? I mean, it's simple. I don't think there's anyone. None of these developers are trying to add extra things to it, or they're just keeping the status quo. I mean, obviously they're protecting it, but
Yeah, well, it has to update alone with like the OS systems, which they
Yes.
that,
Yeah,
which
they
they
talk
went in,
about
right?
that.
Like if there's a change in, you know, Linux or C++, you know, any of these types of things, they obviously have to be able to communicate, you know, to hold the blockchain, you know, and work the way that it's supposed to. So I that was like, again, one of those things that I took for granted, and that really I was like, oh crap, how have I missed that?
Yeah, there's this whole network of individuals that keep this going. It's completely decentralized. There's no person that's, you know, like lording over the community. It is the community that serves the community. It's like that saying, like, the strength of the wolf is in the pack, and the strength of the pack is in the wolf. And that's truly the Bitcoin community. So it was really cool to be a part of it.
It was really cool. Again, just seeing how many people, and like I said, that vendor hall for me was just wild, right? Just because it was like, we've been to conventions for couple decades now.
that was one of the biggest,
That
right?
was probably the
Well, seeing a
biggest.
vendor hall that was vibing like that, I was like, dang.
It was insane.
It was wild. It was super
was,
cool.
It was giving like frothy 2021,
Yes.
you know, real estate conference vibes.
Yes, yes.
And so actually that is something that was apparent to me, is the amount of money that was being poured into these exhibits in the exhibitor hall. I mean, you guys, this was insane. It was so crazy. Does that give us cause for concern? Is the Bitcoin market a little frothy right now? They're saying it's a $2 trillion asset class at this point, which, you know, cannot be irrefuted. It's growing. We see nation states buying Bitcoin. We see companies setting up strategic Bitcoin, on their balance sheets. We see companies that are being created and funding with billions of dollars for the sole purpose of buying Bitcoin and keeping it on the balance sheet.
Yeah, I think we're changing the financial system, right? I mean, basically, they're creating a different financial system than the.
Than what's existed, right?
Yes, what's existed for so long, and I was really there. I really wanted to learn more about some of the lending products that they're creating, and it just dawned on me like, hey, why couldn't I get a real estate loan and add Bitcoin to collateral as collateral and get a lower interest rate? I mean, you should. Jack Mahler was talking about how
lower risk.
Mortgage is you can have a mortgage as a super low interest rate. You can even have some credit cards that are super low interest rate. Why can't you add Bitcoin to your collateral and get a low interest rate? You should.
What's the number one rule with your Bitcoin?
You never sell your Bitcoin, and that's
it's the hodler's dilemma.
That's the hodler's dilemma.
So how do you live life and never sell your Bitcoin? And the only way that you can do that is if you can go, leverage that Bitcoin to, have cash to spend.
Yeah, a few of the speakers spoke to that piece, right? Like, is that a risk? Because does it become such finite supply, right? There's already millions of Bitcoins that are lost, right? Like, what's in circulation? When you actually break down of the 21 million, about 19 million are in existence, then what's actually circulating boils down to like a few million.
13 million. There's about 6 million between Satoshis and between ones that are like lost or,
right. So like when you really look,
million.
right, when you start looking at like the supply of what's actually going, and then you have people like yourselves, right, that, maybe it's not millions of Bitcoin, but you put a
if it was millions of Bitcoin, I wouldn't be sitting here.
I was gonna say, I'd be like, Jay,
thousands of Bitcoin.
Let's take over the world. No, I'm just kidding. My point is though, people, because of that ideology, hold on to your Bitcoin, right? At some point, like a Michael Saylor, who does have mad influence, and he's clearly just stack sats, right? Stack your Satoshis and don't circulate them. At what point does that cause? And then you see people like, pay in Bitcoin and these types of things. So it's like, sometimes when I hear those things like, we accept Bitcoin now, I'm like, well, I don't want to pay in Bitcoin. Right? Like,
you don't want to get rid of your Bitcoin.
I don't, right?
Right.
Unless you sell all of your dollars and go all into Bitcoin and then start paying in Bitcoin.
That's what Jack Mahler is.
That's what he's doing. And
obviously
you have to spend something, right?
You have to spend something
to live.
If you're not spending dollars. But there's a lot of cool financial products that are starting to come out that are able or will allow you to do that, right? With Tether and stablecoins.
Yes.
Is we're able to, instead of holding dollars, holding Bitcoin, and then spend your Bitcoin, it exchanges into stablecoin somehow, and then pays whoever they off. Whoever you're paying off of whatever currency they want to accept.
And that's what the Lightning Network is doing right now.
Yeah.
And
it's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
It is super fascinating.
And I wish I had a Bitcoin for every time we've talked about this on the podcast, because we've talked about our dilemma, which turns out isn't just our dilemma exclusively. It is a lot of Bitcoin holders' dilemma. And that is, how do you tap into that value without actually losing that value? And I think one of the reasons that we brought the Bitcoin price to our home report at Zoodealio at the beginning of this year, it was because we wanted to bring awareness to what that Bitcoin price realistically is in terms of your home's value. But I was so excited, and I predicted this at the beginning of the year, that we're going to see this year, there are way more financial products coming to market to help you, if you have Bitcoin, turn that Bitcoin into cash so that you can go buy a house, you can go take a cool vacation, you can go do the things that you want to do to live your life without sacrificing your Bitcoin.
Yeah, I saw a lot of cool things. Like, one of those ones is this company that I've heard of them before, but I wasn't as familiar. It's called Exodus. And basically you have a debit card that like relates and does it through like Cash App. And there's certain things that you can do and not. And apparently it's MasterCard related. So anywhere MasterCard is accepted, and it was like, it basically debits and whatever else. I'm like, we are getting really close, right? To like going back to like, I don't think it was FTX, but it was like in that era. Remember like how they tried to come up with like the cards, and it was like that whole Ponzi scheme that went on and whatever else, and you could slide your credit card, and I'm like, holy crap, that's actually becoming reality now. And like, that's one of the crazy.
Was that Exodus or Genesis?
No, it was Exodus.
It was Exodus? Wow, there's a Genesis that was doing the same thing.
How funny.
Okay,
well,
so
Genesis is before Exodus, book 1, book 2.
Yeah, smart. Biblical knowledge. Yep. Okay, so Jason and I were wondering, we were curious, Elliot, because while we hold some other coins, we're primarily Bitcoin, and we've been pretty apparent with that. And your perspective has been a little bit different, right? You know, you definitely have the golden Pepe and the other.
I have small
Golden
amounts
Pepe.
of that stuff. There's no question. I'm a mainstream person. I hold a fair amount of XRP. I mean, the thing I have that's the most value in my personal portfolio is Bitcoin. But
So after the conference, are you more bullish on Bitcoin and less on all of the other coins, altcoins in the community, in the Bitcoin community? Maybe they would call them shit coins.
yeah,
What are your thoughts now?
So, I mean, to me, I think Bitcoin is always the anchor, right? And the only thing that like when in talking about the market of the moment, the Bitcoin dominance is just so crazy strong right now, right? They own, like, when you're talking about an asset class, it's roughly $3 trillion and let's just say between 2.2 and 2.4 trillion of that asset class is Bitcoin. That's just complete and utter dominance. So, I mean, I think XRP will eventually has the potential to replace the SWIFT system, which is, to me, why I like XRP so much. Because if that happens, that is a crazy opportunity, and in long game, it could really be impactful. But no question, I think when you're around that kind of community and you see like hearing what's happened in El Salvador since 2021, and when they deemed Bitcoin as legal tender, and how it's pretty much solved so much corruption and crap that's gone on, and look at the health of that country in just a few years, it's hard to not be, all right, I got to go more in, right? Because there's times that you're right. Like, I'm like, should I sell some Bitcoin to go into XRP, right? Like, and it's like, it's this game that you have with your internal self. But for me personally, yes, I would say I definitely got more hooked. My wife got more hooked, and yeah, we should probably go more into Bitcoin.
Well, I saw Mark Moss.
You did.
I
saw
did.
Mark Moss.
And Jason watches this dude religiously.
No.
I wanted to go say hi, and Jason's like, no. And I'm like, we should go say hi. And we also saw George. Those are like the only two.
I saw a few
Couple YouTubers,
Yeah.
I saw the guy. We all know him because he's actually from here. I think his name is JD. I know him at Warriors Rise. That guy.
Oh yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I did
Oh,
not.
he was there?
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't see him.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll save that for offline.
Jason, parting thoughts.
If you don't have some, you got to get some. I mean, that's
That's simple.
Yeah,
it's very simple.
That's
I think,
This is not financial advice.
if you don't understand it, you got to go figure it out. You know, I think Michael Saylor says that, like, people will spend hours and hours and hours learning about something that doesn't really even mean anything to them, or maybe it does mean to them. But money is value. You gotta figure this out. You actually go learn about it. Read the white paper. Ask ChatGPT about it. Read the Bitcoin Standard. Figure it out.
All
Yeah,
right.
the human brain is amazing, right?
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to just absorb this information.
Yeah.
I have two quick reporting thoughts that
Okay,
I think that's
let's
important
go.
to share. Number one is I 1,000,000% agree with Jay. This is an opportunity, honestly, of a lifetime. There is a change that's going on. It's no longer like a possibility. It's inevitable at this point. You have literally the administrative office that is the most powerful administrative office in the entire world telling you that this is happening. Mm-hmm. Even if it's just a small amount, right? A lot of people think, oh, they missed the opportunity. It doesn't matter. You can go take $100 from your paycheck and slowly do that. And when you're thinking about a long-term multiplier of 10, 20 times, think about it like that, right? If I can deposit $100 today and it's going to be worth $2,000 in a few years, or, certain amount of time, do yourself, your family that favor and start doing that. And my last, so that's one parting thought. And my other parting thought was probably my favorite statement. I sent it to you guys, is fix the money, fix the world. I thought that was ridiculously powerful.
Thanks for tuning in. If you have anything to add to the conversation, drop it in the comments.